Yesterday, Israel conducted yet another crazy assassination of one of their long-term adversaries. They've been hunting for this guy for probably over 20 years now. Also, Trump makes groundbreaking announcements from Saudi Arabia and has a disturbing meeting with former Al-Qaeda-affiliated Syrian dictator Sharaa. I'm Ben Hilton, and this is the Israel Guys. The Houthis, it seems, still haven't learned their lesson. Just this morning, they launched yet another ballistic missile at Israel, claiming this one was hypersonic, although we don't know that for sure. Sirens went off throughout central Israel, forcing over 500,000 Israelis into bomb shelters. Israel intercepted the missile in the upper atmosphere, according to reports. Thank God. This is the third ballistic missile the Houthis have fired at Israel in just the last 24 hours, and the 31st missile since March. Also 10 drones thrown in that mix as well. In response, Israel issued an evacuation warning to civilians in areas around the Houthis' three major ports, citing the possibility of a strike. There are rumors that there are Israeli fighter jets currently on their way to destroy the ports, but as of the time of recording, this hasn't been confirmed at all. It's just kind of a rumor. All of this comes on the heels of Trump's really unorthodox meetings with the Saudis and a completely new shift in relations with former Al-Qaeda affiliate and now current dictator of Syria, Sharaa. But before we get into that, we have some crazy news. Israel just conducted an assassination in Gaza. So far, over the course of this war, Israel has killed all of Hezbollah's top command and most of Hamas's as well, including Yahya Sinwar, the tunnel rat and overall leader of Hamas. They killed him this last October. He was replaced by Mohammed Sinwar, Yahya's brother. Israeli officials describe Mohammed as a hardline figure with more military experience than his brother Yahya. For context, he was involved in the kidnapping of Gilad Shalit in 2006, which led to the release of Yahya, Mohammed's brother, from Israeli prison. Mohammed taking command in October after Yahya was killed is probably why Hamas has done such a good job of reorganizing and rearming over this last winter, but not anymore. Reportedly, Israel used a series of bunker buster bombs yesterday to strike an underground facility, a tunnel beneath the European hospital in Khan Yunis. The operation was described as a belt of fire attack. Supposedly 9 bombs were used in the hospital's courtyard after it was determined the area was clear enough for civilians from surveillance data. We don't have all the information yet, but there were probably a few civilians killed, although the number seems to be very low. There was a tunnel underneath, though, a huge tunnel from the pictures, and it appears that Mohammed Sinwar was there. It isn't officially confirmed that he was killed in the strike yet, although it is looking more and more like that is the case. It's hard in these kinds of attacks to confirm that the intended target was actually killed, because when you're using a bunker buster bomb like this, there really generally isn't much left of the person you were trying to assassinate. So hopefully he was taken out by Israel. This would be a huge victory. Before I hear people in the comments saying that Israel violated international law by striking a hospital, that isn't true in the least. Under international law, the Geneva Conventions and such, hospitals are only protected in military action if they are used for civilian purposes, like giving people medical treatment. If hospitals or any other civilian infrastructure are used for attacks by the enemy, then that infrastructure is considered like any other military target. Hamas has clearly demonstrated time and time again that they are willing to take full advantage of ignorant international sympathy by staging their attacks out of hospitals and schools. Then when Israel rightfully and legally responds to these attacks, they cry foul. We've seen countless rocket launchers hidden in schools, weapons in tunnels located under kids' beds, Hamas soldiers and leaders disguised as women moving from place to place in ambulances, and the list goes on and on. In a moment, we'll get into Trump's groundbreaking meetings with the Saudis and the new head of Syria, also some concerning developments with Qatar. But first, I want to do something a little different. I have a box here, shipped all the way to my doorstep. Everything in this box is made by Israelis from all over Israel. So first off, we have a booklet that looks like a guide to what is in the box. Cool stories of some of the Israelis behind the products, recipes. We have a mixture for challah coating, milk chocolate treats, Israeli almonds, and sea salt. Wow, that's really good. Hand-painted Shabbat candlesticks, halva-coated peanuts, and this prayer for the state of Israel. 7 days of creation serving tray. All of this comes from an Artza Box subscription. Artza, if you sign up for one of their monthly subscriptions, will send a box like this to your house every single month. And every month, it's different products inside, uniquely tailored to the calendar, to holidays in Israel, holidays in America. With Artza Box, you have the opportunity to not only strengthen dozens of small business owners across the land of Israel, but everything you get is a beautiful, meaningful Israeli product shipped to your home every single month. Go to artzabox.com and use the code IG10 to get 10% off. That's artzabox.com and the code IG for Israel Guys 10 for 10% off your order. So Trump is in the Middle East right now. He's on a whirlwind tour focused on strengthening economic and security ties with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. He met with the Crown Prince at the royal court. This led to an announcement of a Saudi pledge to invest $600 billion in American technology, infrastructure, and manufacturing over the next 4 years. They also announced a $142 billion defense deal, the largest, I believe, in American Saudi history. Trump also seemed favorable to the Saudis in developing a civilian nuclear program, one not dependent on joining the Abraham Accords. Currently, Trump is in Qatar, and this meeting could be the most interesting. As we've spoken about several times recently, Qatar is the largest financial supporter of Hamas, giving them nearly $2 billion since 2012. They've also set themselves up as the neutral party in the negotiations between Hamas and Israel. But they continue to give Hamas money and harbor their leaders in their country. They're basically a retirement or vacation place for Hamas leadership. They do this while being the largest foreign donor to American colleges and universities, giving them over $6 billion. That's with a B, $6 billion just to American schools alone since 2001. They do this while giving money to whatever politicians will take it in the US, which turns out to be a lot of people. And the Trump administration isn't exactly immune to Qatarian influence. Pam Bondi, Trump's attorney general, and the one who approved Qatar's gift of a $400 million airplane to Trump, personally was registered as a foreign agent for Qatar from 2019 to 2020. So not that long ago. Steve Witkoff, Trump's Middle East envoy, was bailed out of a bad real estate investment to the tune of $623 million in 2010. Kash Patel, Trump's FBI director, provided consulting services to Qatar's embassy until November of 2024. Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, led an organization who lobbied for the Qatar embassy in the US. Jared Kushner, although not a current part of Trump's administration, he still has Trump's ear from what I hear. His private equity firm received funds from Qatar after 2020 and other Arab states as well. The list goes on and on. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying the Trump administration is compromised when it comes to Qatar. There may be perfectly good explanations for all of the involvement different officials have had with Qatar. It's just a concerning trend overall in Washington, especially right now with Trump's announcement that he is accepting the $400 million airplane that Qatar offered as a gift to Trump. And also how soft Steve Witkoff has been with Qatar and their role in the hostage negotiations with Hamas and Israel. All of that definitely has me concerned, to say the least, especially when we see President Trump normalizing relations with former al-Qaeda affiliate, now dictator of Syria, al-Sharaa. The meeting occurred in Saudi Arabia, hosted by the Saudis, and Turkey's President Erdogan, who joined remotely. And before we get into details on the meeting, I should remind you that up until a few months ago, Sharaa had a $10 million bounty on his head by the U.S. military, and he still is under U.S. terrorist designation for his al-Qaeda ties. So make of that what you want. According to the White House statement, in the meeting that Trump had with al-Sharaa, Trump urged him to join the Abraham Accords with Israel, expel foreign terrorists, including Islamic Jihad, and deport Palestinian terrorists. So those were good demands from Trump.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. You know, strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
Is that wording?
But he's got a real shot at pulling it together.
He also announced the full lifting of U.S. sanctions on Syria for now. There is a report that Sharaa pitched a deal where he would give the U.S. access to Syria's oil and gas, build a Trump Tower in Damascus, and establish a demilitarized zone near the Golan Heights. Although presumably these things, if that report is true, would be something that would be discussed in more details in future meetings. So a lot of craziness there, a lot of cause for concern in many different ways. With the meetings in Saudi Arabia seemed like a step towards progress with U.S.-Israeli relations. Qatar, I'm definitely a little bit concerned there. The UAE, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with those meetings over the next several days. What's happening between Trump and Sharaa, though, definitely has me the most concerned. Sharaa is a terrorist, a brutal terrorist, and now dictator of Syria. And hopefully Trump can manage this well. But it definitely is a lot to watch out for over the next coming bit. Guys, if you want to support our work here at the Israel Guys, go over to theisraelguys.com/donate. Everything you give there is very much appreciated. Helps keep the lights on here. Also, speaking of keeping the lights on, to support the small businesses across Judea and Samaria, across Israel at large, is an amazing thing for Christians to do. It also helps us, once again, keep the lights on here. Go to artzabox.com, use the code IG10 for 10% off your monthly box of Israeli products. As always, thanks for watching.